Hello, everyone. How are you all doing today? I hope you're all doing well. My name is Beth, or Queen of Spade, and today I wanted to take a moment to talk with everyone about Autism Speaks. Now, you may be familiar with it because there have been a lot of videos made on this autism advocacy organization, and the reason why I would like to bring it up today is because it partners with an MLM that I was a part of, which is Scentsy. You may be familiar with Bernie the Buddyfly. This Scentsy buddy is actually bought and proceeds are donated to Autism Speaks. They have been partnering with Scentsy for years, and they are a really controversial in terms of over 60 disability rights organizations have actually condemned them for failing to represent autistic people and for exploitative practices. So they're not appreciated that much. And so I wanted to talk about the organization today and why it is even more dangerous when it
you get keto coffee and you get greens and you also get a WTF What the Fit towel. Sign up, hit join, or message me, and let's get started. Hit join or message me and let's get started.
Autism Speaks Incorporated, it is actually the largest autism advocacy organization in all of the United States. It sponsors autism research and it conducts awareness and outreach activities aimed at families, governments, and the public. It was founded in February of 2005 by a man named Bob Wright, who was actually the vice chairman of General Electric at the time, as well as his wife Suzanne. They founded the organization a year after their grandson was diagnosed with autism. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Autism Speaks has been the focus of a lot of controversy. The autism rights movement and neurodiversity advocates see autism as a difference rather than a disease that needs to be cured. And they have criticized Autism Speaks for seeking a cure for the apparent disease. I can relate to this a little bit because as someone with complex post-traumatic stress disorder, a lot of people consider it a mental health disorder, but they have actually done a lot of neurological studies and they have shown that people with complex post-traumatic stress disorder actually have their brains rewired in a different way, and that is why they get so triggered to trauma. There is no cure for it. It is something that I am going to have to manage for my entire life with medication, counseling, etc. And I would get really annoyed if people looked at me like I was someone that had a disease. So I can relate to that sentiment a little bit. Not as much as someone with autism could, for sure. But I get why they would not want this organization out there promoting that they have a disease that needs to be cured. And the good news is that Autism Speaks actually did drop the word cure from its mission statement, but that wasn't until 2016. So it took them several years of receiving criticism over this before they were like, okay, maybe we will change the mission statement. The organization was funded by the Home Depot founder Bernie Marcus, and he sat on the board of directors for several years. He gave them a $25 million donation. From February 2009 until 2020, Autism Speaks used the Wubsy character from Wow Wow Wubsy as a mascot. There were some issues with that, and their current mascot is Julia from Sesame Street. I think people do like that a bit better. Let me know in the comments below if that's something that bothers you. I've heard a lot of mixed feelings on that as well. Unfortunately, the co-founder, Suzanne Wright, was actually diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and she died in July of 2016. Autism Speaks supports research in 4 main areas. Etiology includes genetic and environmental factors that may cause autism. This research includes searches for autism susceptibility genes, animal models for autism, environmental toxins, and maternal viral infections. Biology studies cells, the brain, and the body. This focuses on brain development and includes the Autism Tissue Program. Diagnosis includes epidemiology, early diagnosis, and biomarkers. Autism therapies include medication, behavioral, and psychological interventions. It includes treatments for co-occurring medical conditions in children which are unrelated to autism, such as sleep disorders and gastrointestinal conditions that may hinder behavior interventions, along with treatments for older individuals and complementary and alternative medicine. The Autism Speaks Autism Tissue Program is a network of researchers that manages and distributes brain tissues donated for autism research. These donations are rare and are a vital component of research into the causes of autism. Autism Speaks believes that vaccines have been shown to be safe for most children and are important for preventing serious diseases such as measles and mumps. It recognizes that some individuals may have adverse reactions or respond poorly to vaccines and advocates research into identifying any subgroups of such individuals and mechanisms behind any such reactions. This has strained relations between the Wrights and their daughter Katie, the mother of their grandson with autism. Katie believes her son's autism was caused by thiomersal, a preservative that was formerly common in children's vaccines in the US. No major scientific studies have confirmed this hypothesis, and I have spoken out against that a lot on my channel and whenever we discuss the anti-vax population. The Walk for Autism Research Program conducts an annual autism walk on Long Island, New York. The walk attracted 20,000 participants in October 2006, and it raised $2 million. Suzanne Wright also helped launch the Autism Speaks Light It Up Blue campaign and the annual World Focus on Autism event. Autism Speaks sponsors and distributes the short film Autism Every Day, produced by Lauren Theory and Eric Solomon. Autism Speaks staff member Allison Singer was reportedly criticized for a scene in which she said, in the presence of her autistic daughter, that when faced with having to place the girl in a school that she deemed to be terrible, she contemplated driving her car off a bridge with her child in the car. She said that these feelings were not unusual among non-autistic mothers of autistic children. According to the book Battleground, the media, she instructed the families she interviewed not to do their hair, vacuum, or have therapists present, and appeared with her film crew at homes without preliminary preparations in order to authentically capture the difficulties of life with autistic children, such as autistic children throwing tantrums or physically struggling with parents. In 2009, Singer responded by claiming that she made this comment because the New York State Department of Health recommended that her autistic daughter be placed in a school with very poor conditions, and she didn't want her daughter to suffer there. However, she deeply regretted phrasing her concerns in that manner. She also claimed that she reconciled with autism advocates to some extent, but still advocates for medical research on autism. In November of 2013, Autism Speaks published an op-ed by co-founder Suzanne Wright. Autistic people and their families criticized the piece for using inaccurate statistics and giving an unrepresentative and exaggerated depiction of the lives of autistic people and their families. Op-Ed articulates a view of the autism situation that is very different from my own. She says things I would never say to people with autism and cannot in good conscience stand by. Given her role as leader of the organization, I am afraid it is my signal to exit the Autism Speaks stage. Robison resigned from Autism Speaks, saying he could no longer support an organization that failed to connect to the community it purports to represent. Right? This disease has taken our children away. It's time to get them back. This is a view that many but not all autism scientists would endorse. In contrast, some autistic activists have promoted the idea of neurodiversity and the social model of disability, asserting that people with autism are different but not disease, and they challenge how we conceptualize such medical conditions. In January of 2008, an autistic blogger, upset with the portrayal of autism at Autism Speaks' website, Getting the Word Out, created a critical parody website titled Getting the Truth Out. It was later taken down in response to legal demands from Autism Speaks to stop using its name and logo without permission. Autism Speaks said the spoof could confuse people looking for information about autism. You don't say. New parody sites were later launched by Gareth Nelson, founder of the autism rights group Aspies for Freedom. In September of 2009, Autism Speaks screened another film, I Am Autism, at its annual World Focus on Autism event. The video was created by Alfonso Cuarón and the Autism Speaks board member Billy Mann, with narration closely resembling the 1954 short Taming the Crippler, which personalized polio as a kind of Grim Reaper figure. I Am Autism has been criticized by autism advocates and researchers for its negative portrayal of autism. In response to an editorial by Steve Silberman in the Los Angeles Times criticizing Autism Speaks, then-President Liz Feld stated that 1/3 of people with autism also have a seizure disorder, half suffer serious digestive complications, 50% wander, and more than 30% are nonverbal. Feld also discussed Autism Speaks' legal achievements in providing families of those affected with autism more financial assistance and funding, and the various service and awareness initiatives the organization provided. Let's take a minute to talk about what Autism Speaks has felt over the vaccination issue. So vaccinations are often wrongly associated with an increased risk of autism. This has been discredited numerous times. Autism used to assign a high priority to research into this. In March of 2010, though, Autism Speaks said it would not completely abandon the idea that vaccines could cause autism and that it would support research to determine whether subsets of individuals might be at increased risk for developing autism symptoms following vaccination. And as you can imagine, this was extremely controversial. In September 2010, a study by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found exposure to thimerosal, a preservative that used to be added to vaccines, does not increase a child's risk of developing autism. Responding to the study, Autism Speaks Chief Science Officer said that the study adds to a large body of evidence indicating that early thimerosal exposure through vaccines does not cause autism. In August of 2014, Autism Speaks said, "We strongly encourage parents to have their children vaccinated for protection against serious disease. We recognize that some parents still have concerns about vaccines, particularly if they have a child or relative with autism. We urge them to find a health practitioner who will consider their concerns and help them ensure the well-being of their child." So it sounds like they are kind of still thinking that there could be a connection between vaccinations and autism. Because in 2017, Autism Speaks took the position that each family has a unique experience with an autism diagnosis, and for some, it corresponds with the timing of their child's vaccinations. At the same time, scientists have conducted extensive research over the last 2 decades to determine whether there is any link between childhood vaccines and autism. The results of this research is clear. Vaccines do not cause autism. So they seem to go back and forth on this. They're not really sure. Now, you have heard about all of the issues that we have gone through in terms of what Autism Speaks is all about. You would think that this organization would be doing everything that they can and pouring every single dollar that they have made or funded into their mission. However, in 2008, Autism Speaks Chief Science Officer Jerry Dawson received $669,751 in compensation, including $269,721 to relocate her family from Washington to North Carolina. Autism Speaks responded that Dawson's compensation was mid-range for executives with similar positions in the nonprofit health sector, and that Dawson's move benefited Autism Speaks because she would be more accessible to its offices, science divisions, government health agencies in Washington, D.C., and her new position at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. But compared to other autism-focused nonprofit organizations, Autism Speaks actually spends a smaller percentage of its revenue on furthering its mission. According to a report by the Daily Beast, 70.9% of Autism Speaks revenue is devoted to directly furthering its mission, compared to 79.8% of Autistic Self-Advocacy Network's revenue and 91.5% of Autism Science Foundation's revenue. In 2012, Autism Speaks spent $2,252,334 on compensation for current officers, directors, trustees, and key employees, which the Daily Beast portrayed as controversial. Autism Speaks former president Mark Roithmeyer had a salary of $436,314 in 2012. And Chief Science Officer Geraldine Dawson earned $465,671. And the numbers kept going up from there, where they seemed to be paying out more and more to their employees in 2016. And in 2018, Autism Speaks spent $19.6 million on employee benefits. Angela Giger, the current president, earned more than $642,000, which was more than double the earnings of any other Autism Speaks executive. Charity Navigator gave Autism Speaks a financial rating of 2 out of 4 stars. It appears that this company is using people with autism in order to make money for themselves. And they do use fear-mongering when they are discussing autism. A lot of people that have autism spectrum disorder have spoken out against Autism Speaks, their controversial views and practices, and they really are not speaking for people with autism at all. They have a board of 28 people. Only one of those people actually has autism. The irony is that this organization is called Autism Speaks, and then only one person with autism is on the board speaking. And they seem to like to silence those with autism that do not have the same beliefs as them. They've been known to go a little bit hard at people on Twitter all. This company is controversial for a lot of different reasons. It seems to be the worst advocacy organization out there for autism. And the issue also lies when they actually hook up with a multi-level marketing company such as Scentsy Incorporated in order to make more money. And also help a multi-level marketing company rip off people so that they can make more money. And it appears that the money that they make doesn't even go into what it should go into. So that's all extremely worrisome for me. The last thing we need out here is a controversial company and another controversial company teaming up to take advantage of people with autism. It's very angering to me. I feel like it's very predatory. We already knew MLMs are predatory, but these things always make them seem all the more predatory. The other thing that I want to bring up is that when I was with Scentsy, since I was a consultant for them, if you weren't aware, I was with them for 6 months. When I was with them, the Scentsy Buddy was promoted extremely heavily, especially during Autism Awareness Month. During this time, we're told that proceeds go to Autism Speaks. However, I was never explained what the beliefs of Autism Speaks was. So we have several people in a multi-level marketing company, Scentsy, that are promoting for people to buy these Scentsy buddies, Bernie the Buddyfly, in order to help give donations and funding to a controversial organization, Autism Speaks. And we have no clue when we're working for the company, because it ain't your own business, boss babe, that it is actually that controversial, that it had the views that it had. When I was doing it, it would have been around the time that they would have been saying that they weren't sure if autism could have been caused by vaccines or not. That's worrisome to me. I am dead against thinking that vaccines can cause autism. If I had known at that time that that's what this organization stood for, I would have never sold a Scentsy Buddy, and I would not ever have had my daughter buy Bernie the Buddyfly, because we did that. So I'm over here upset that I have donated to this company, and unbeknownst to me, I wasn't aware of what they stood for, and that's really worrisome to me when an MLM company wants you to buy a product from them and help support an organization, but they aren't completely transparent about what the organization is about. However, I did notice that there has been some drama surrounding Sia and her new film. I'm not going to get into all of that right now. It's not my place. However, I do want to bring up that in that, it looked like maybe Autism Speaks isn't as transparent as they should be. I can't completely blame it on Scentsy because it appeared that Sia also wasn't aware of how controversial they were. And I realize Googling them, you can look it up, but the reality is a lot of people are just going to believe in an organization that claims to stand for people with autism. You want to support people with autism. So you kind of either take their word for it or you take the word of Scentsy telling you that they're good. I'm not sure whose fault it is there, but I do have to put out into the world that it may not be all the fault of Scentsy. I'm unsure how transparent Autism Speaks is with the other companies it partners with or people it partners with. I do have to be completely honest and transparent in all of my videos, and so I do want to put that out there because I have to. I've been wanting to do this video for a really long time, and it's been kind of hard for me because I do not have autism. My daughter has autism, but I don't have autism. So I just want to say I am in no way, shape, or form trying to speak on behalf of anybody with autism. And if anyone out there that has autism wants to come on my platform and represent those with autism and speak to me, we can do an interview about your thoughts on the company, what you agree or disagree with, why you don't like them, what your personal views are about autism and the whole cure disease thing. I would absolutely love that. So please do get a hold of me. My social media links are always at the bottom of my video. I would love to do that. I'm not trying to speak out as somebody like for the people with autism. I'm speaking out as somebody that was with Scentsy, supported Scentsy for a little while, bought a Scentsy buddy from them, donations from my sale, and the profit that Scentsy made, they donated some of that to Autism Speaks. I wasn't aware of how controversial it was, and then I'm just finding out now. So I would like to come out and speak on that part, on the business aspect, and on how I didn't appreciate not knowing. And then I also want to apologize for ever supporting a company that had these views. Like I said, if I would have known, wouldn't have supported it. So I guess what I'm saying also is that if you are in an MLM company, don't just take their word on it either when they tell you that an organization that they're donating to is good. Always go and do your very own research. Critical thinking is important. Doing your own research, always important. Because right now, that's like one of my biggest regrets with being with Scentsy is supporting Autism Speaks. Even if it was only like $5 of mine that went there, that was still $5 too much. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed my take on Autism Speaks. There's a lot more information out there. This is kind of just a quick roundup of some of the, most controversial things that have happened with them, a little bit of their history, and then my personal issues with them and their connection to Scentsy and why that's a problem. If you have anything to add, of course, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to start a really good conversation about this. And again, like I said, if anyone out there that does have autism spectrum disorder wants to get a hold of me and do an interview, I would absolutely love that. And I'm sure my viewers would love it as well. So I hope you guys are all having a fabulous, fabulous day. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye! And do not support Autism Speaks. Also, don't send them any hate. I hear they go off on Twitter already, y'all. Don't ever send anyone hate. Just go off with the rest of your day feeling positive and being glad that I no longer support Autism Speaks. Let's just all celebrate that. All right? Mwah! See you in the next one. Bye! Fuck you, Autism Speaks.